Okay, so let's get started to making our box. The first thing we're going to do is grab our rectangle tool here. I'm just going to click and drag, and I'm going to up at the top here make my width 3.5 and my height 3.5. And I want to make sure that my stroke is set to 1. I'm just going to grab my black arrow tool and center that, sort of. And holding the Alt key, I'm going to make a couple of extra squares. So I want one to go on top. I'm just going to do this again, Alt and click and drag, so that we have something that looks like that. Next thing I'm going to do is I want to grab the rectangle tool, and I'm just going to sort of drag a rectangle here. And I want my settings this time to be 3.5 by 1/2. I'm going to grab my white arrow tool, and I'm going to click off the image, and for this top right corner, I'm just going to click and start dragging in, and I'm going to hold my shift key down so it stays straight, and I just want to go into a 1/2 inch. Okay, so I'm going to sort of put that right there. That's where we're going to want it. Then I'm going to click, holding the Alt key, click it and drag it, and this time I'm going to hold the shift key and drag it this way, and that's going to go like that. And then I'm going to click, hold the Alt key, and make another copy. Oops. Put it here. And this time what I want to do is I'm going to go to Object, Transform, Reflect, and I want to switch this horizontally. Let me hit the preview button so we can make sure. Yep, hit OK. And then I'm going to hold the Alt key again and drag it again. And this time I want to switch it vertically, so I'm going to go Object, Transform, Reflect, and hit OK. And then we also want to turn it upside down, so we're going to go Object. Oh wait, nope, that's the way we want it. I'm sorry. Okay, so like 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this one actually we need to turn this. I'm going to get to the corner here, hold the Shift key, put this like this. We need to reflect that, so I'm going to do Object, Transform, Reflect, Horizontal, and hit OK. Alright, so what we want is we want the curve to bend on the inside turn here, like this. So we have all of our pieces here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in really close, and we're going to get this ready. So I'm just going to zoom in here, and just want to line these up perfectly. So if you're zoomed in, it's a lot easier to see that you're in right on the lines here. And you can see it says like intersect when we get there. Just going to grab this one, that like that. Okay, we're just going to move this very carefully to make sure everything is lined up perfectly. Okay. And we just have to get this last piece on here. Okay, so I'm going to zoom back out, Command 0, and you can see we have our shape. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click and select everything, and I'm going to go to the Pathfinder, which, let's see if I have it open. Let's see if we do Windows, Pathfinder. Your Pathfinder window will open, and I'm just going to hit Unite. So of course now all of our inner lines are gone and we have a nice outline. So what we need to do now is we're going to draw some lines. So I'm going to grab the line tool, and I'm going to start at this corner here, and I'm going to click and drag, holding the Shift key all the way down until I touch the bottom. And I want to make sure my stroke is set to 1, and then I'm going to go into my stroke, I'm going to round it off, and then I'm going to hit dash. And I want the dash to be 5 and 30. And I want to make sure that this is clicked right here. This aligns to the inside. So that's going to give us our first line. Next one we're going to do, I'm going to start at this anchor point. I'm going to click Shift and get to, it says anchor again. And again, I've got the fold lines are all set. And then we're going to start from this corner. You want to click off of it for a second because otherwise it won't work right. Grab your line again. I'm going to start at this anchor point. Oops, I'm sorry, this anchor point. I'm just going to click and drag holding the Shift key until it says anchor again. And then I'm going to start at this anchor point, Shift, click until we get to the end. So now what we do is we have all of our fold lines for inside of our box. Now if we just leave this like this without fixing these lines, it won't cut right. When you open it up in your Cricut or a Silhouette, there'll be solid lines. So we have to fix that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to click and Shift click all 4 lines. And we're going to go to Object, Path, Outline Stroke. And then we're going to hit the Unite button in the Pathfinder. And then I'm going to hit Command 8. And then what we're going to do is we're going to highlight everything and hit Command 8. And now we have a single piece. And what's going to happen is this will fold up and make like a pocket square, and we're going to want another one that looks just like this. So that what we're going to do is we're going to do File, Save, and I'm going to just save this as part 1 of our box. And again, I'm going to give you this file so that you have it to look at and maybe play around with it if you want to. So I'm just going to call this box part 1, and I'm going to put it on my desktop, and I'm going to create a new folder. This says box. Okay, so I'm going to save that as box part 1 AI first. Hit OK, and then I'm going to do File, Save As, and I'm going to save it as an SVG and hit Save. Hit OK. And then what we need to do is we need to make a box that's going to fit right on the inside. So if you notice, this is a 10.5 inch, pretty much by 10.5 inch square. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do File, New. Again, make my paper 12 by 12. And I'm going to go back to my first one up here on the tab. I'm going to have it selected, and I'm going to do Command C or Control C on the PC. Go to my other one and do Command V to paste it in there. And then I want to lock my aspect ratio up here on the top, this little chain link. And I want to make this a 1/2 inch smaller. So I'm just going to get rid of the 0.5. And then now our box is about 10 inches by 10 inches. And that's going to make it so that this inside box will fit on the inside of our first box. Then what we need to do is we need to create a few decorations for our box. So first let's save this. I'm going to do File, Save. And we're going to call this box part 2. And again, I'm going to do File, Save As, and save this as the SVG. Hit OK. So now our boxes here should be about 3 inches. So I'm just going to take the rectangle tool and just kind of give it a quick check. And it's about 3.3 inches, so that's fine. I'm just going to delete that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make the long box that's going to go across the bottom. So what we're going to do is I'm going to grab my rectangle tool. I'm just going to click and drag. And I have a new document here set at 12 by 12. So I want to make sure I have no fill again. I want my stroke to be 1. And I need my size to be 10.5 by 10.5 square. And with the black arrow tool and my box selected, I'm going to hit transform here up on the top. And I want my X value to be 0 and I want my Y value to be 0. And what that's going to do is it's going to put our box right at the very top corner of our page. And then what we need to do is we're going to grab the line tool. And I'm just going to click and drag, holding the shift key to make it straight. Just click and drag and let go. And I want, again, my stroke to be 1. And over here on the top, I need my width to be 10.5. Don't worry about the height. And I want my X value to be 3.5. And I want my my X value to be 0. My Y value to be 3.5. And I want my stroke to be rounded, and I want a dashed line again with the 5 and the 30, and I want it to end at the end of the line. And I'm going to put that right there. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on here holding the Alt key and just drag it down again. Only this time I want to set my X value to 0 and my Y value set to 7 inches. Wait, 3? Yep, 7 inches. Okay, so that's going to give us 3.5, 3.5, and 3.5. So I'm going to shift select both of these dashed lines. I'm going to hit Object, Path, Outline Stroke, and I'm going to hit the command. First I'm going to hit Unite, and then Command 8. And then with my black arrow tool, I'm going to grab the box and the 2 sets of lines and hit Command 8. Okay, so now I have 3 sides of our long portion on the bottom, but that's not going to be big enough. I mean, it's not going to be all the pieces. We're going to need 2 end pieces here. So I'm actually going to, with my black arrow tool, select off of the image, and you'll see it'll have Document Set up here up top. So I'm just going to click on that, and I'm going to hit Edit Artboard. And you can see my artboard is set to 12 by 12. I'm just going to make the height of the artboard 24 inches. That's just going to give me a little space here to draw the other pieces. So with my black arrow tool, I'm going to hit Command 0. I'm just going to move this square up to the top, and then I'm going to zoom back in using the Command plus key. And what we need are 2 3.5-inch squares to put on the end here. So I'm going to click the rectangle tool and just click and drag. And I need the size to be set at 3.5 by 3.5. Oops, I accidentally hit that. We're going to get rid of that and put no fill. And we're going to make sure our stroke is set to 1. Okay, so now what I need is I'm going to need a connector on 3 of the sides of the square. So I'm going to, if this is, let's say this is going to go to the back, I need 1 on the top, 1 in the back, and 1 on the side, and 1 to be open. So I'm going to click the rectangle tool, and I'm just going to click and drag, and I want the size to be 3.5 inches wide by 1/2 inch high. Again, I want my stroke to be 1, and I'm just going to hold the Alt key with this selected and make 2 more copies. Okay, so this one we need to turn, obviously, so I'm going to, with it selected, I'm just going to hold the Shift key and rotate until it's vertical. Okay, then I'm going to grab my white arrow tool, and this time I'm going to start up here in this anchor. I'm just going to move in to 1/2 inch or 0.5. I'm going to do the same thing with this corner. Go in to 0.5 here. I'm going to click and drag down to 0.5, holding the Shift key to keep it straight. You got to the corner when it says anchor, you start dragging and then hold your Shift key after that. Okay? And then this one, just going to start dragging to 1/2 inch. And then this one, and hold the Shift key and drag to 1/2 inch. Okay, then with the black arrow tool, we're going to zoom in. I'm just going to get this lined up in here perfectly like we did before. Get this one down here. Okay, so now what we need to do, I'm just going to highlight it all, and we're going to use the path tool, which is right here. It looks like 2 intersecting squares. Click on that and hit Unite. And again, we have a single shape here. So what I'm going to do is grab my line tool, And I'm going to start at this top anchor point. I'm going to click and drag straight across until it goes to the anchor. Make sure my stroke is set at 1 point, rounded, dashed lines 5 to 30, and the aligns the dashes. And I'm going to click off. I'm going to start down here at this anchor point, and I'm going to drag all the way up until we get here. Oops, I actually don't want to do that one. Let me hit delete. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to start at this anchor point and go this way. And we already have the dashed line set. And then I'm going to go this anchor point and drag down to this anchor point. And we have all of our folds that we need for inside of this little box. So I'm just going to select all 3 of these lines. Hold the shift key to select that one. Oh, let me just do this manually. I'm going to shift select each line. And we're going to do object path, outline stroke, unite, command 8, and then we're going to grab the whole shape and we're going to hit command 8. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we need to make a copy of this. I'm going to hold the Alt key, drag this over, and I need to flip it. So I'm just going to do Object, Transform, Reflect, and we want to do it vertically and hit OK. So we have one facing each way. Okay, so now we have everything here. Alright, so these are all the parts that we're going to need for the bottom piece of our box. So I'm just going to do this and say File, Save. I'm just going to call it Box Bottom. Hit OK. And we're going to do File, Save As. We're going to save it as an SVG. Hit Save. Okay, so now I'm going to select everything. I'm going to do File, New. And we're going to go with a 12 by 24 inch high, again, canvas here, and hit Create. And I'm going to select everything from our boxes. I'm going to hit Command C or Control C, go to our new file, hit Command V or Control V, and now everything is on here, but we need to make the inside. So our width here is about 10.5. So what I need to do is we just need to change that to a 10. And we need to make sure that it constrains the width and the height, and hit OK. And we're going to do File, Save, and it's going to be Box Bottom 2 for the inside. And we're going to save that. Okay, one more piece we have to make. I'm going to do File, New, and we're going to do a 12 by 12. I'm going to hit Create. And I just want to get a rectangle here, and I think actually I want to do, I guess I'll do a rectangle. So I'm just going to click and drag, and I want my rectangle to be set, or really my square, to be set at 3 by 3. So I need to turn off my, I want to make sure that's unlocked there. So I need to make it 3 inches by 3 inches. And let's see here. Oops. I'm just going to do, I'm going to go to stylize my corner. And let's see. No. Alright. We're just going to make this a 3 by 3 square, and this is going to be what fills our background. So we just need this to put in the back or the front of our boxes, you know, with our numbers. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually do another one, so we can do kind of multiple layers here. And I'm going to make this one 3 point, 125. It's just going to be slightly bigger, and that way we can have two layers here. So I'm going to make the fill, I'm going to fill these, and I'm going to bring the stroke down to 0. I'm going to fill this one and make this blue, and I'm going to also bring my stroke down to 0. And these are just going to be two pieces that we can put on the face of each one of our pockets. We also need one for the bottom piece, so I'm just going to click and drag, and I'm going to make the width 10 1/4 by 3 1/4, and let's make the fill color on here a little different. And then I'm going to hold the Alt key down and drag another one, and I'm going to change the size to let's see, 10.375 by 3.375. I'm going to change the color again to, let's make it purple. Okay, so this will sit inside of this will sit outside of this one, like that. I'm just going to put that back like that. And this one will sit inside of this one, like that. And so we'll have a couple layers to put in the front of our boxes. So I'm going to do File, Save, Box Cover, Box Front, and hit OK. Alright, and I'm going to do File, Save As. We're going to change it to an SVG. Hit Save, and hit OK. Alright, we'll be right back. Okay, so now I have a new document, and it's opened up at 24 inches by 24 inches, and we're going to create our numbers so we can get those ready as well. So I'm going to grab my text tool. I'm just going to click and drag a nice big square here, and of course it's filling it with font, text. Don't worry about that. I'm just going to start typing my numbers. Oops, if I could count would be good. Okay, so I have all of my numbers here, and I want to keep them within the 3 by 3 box so that it fits in the front of our little box here. So I think this size looks good. I have it set at bold at 180 points. So I'm going to leave that like that. Grab my black arrow tool, go to Type, Create Outlines, and I'm going to hit the Unite button, and then I'm going to hit Object, Ungroup. And then what I want to do is select each number individually and hit Command 8 or Control 8 on the PC. And I'm just going to go through each number, and that's going to make sure that when you get to the part where there's double digits, they stay together. So now that I have 10 here, I'm going to highlight both the 1 and the 0, hit Command 8, the 11, because we might want to change the colors. So if we decide to go red and green, it will know that these numbers have to stay together. So I'm just going to highlight those and hit Command 8. Okay. Oops, I'm going to hit Edit Undo. I accidentally scaled that, so I'm going to hit Undo, Command 8, and Command 8. Now, my 25 box is going to be the equivalent of 3 boxes. So what I'm going to do is, instead of just having the 25, I want to write Merry Christmas. So I'm going to grab my text tool again, and I'm just going to drag this out. I'm just going to write Merry Christmas. And this font is going to be a little bit too big, so I'm going to highlight this with my text tool, and I'm going to bring this down to about half of the size, so about a 90. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do Object, oops, sorry, type create outline, and I'm going to hit my unite, and I'm just going to highlight the Mary. Oops, first I have to do object ungroup. Then I'm going to highlight the Mary, hit Command 8, and the Christmas, and hit Command 8. And then what I want to do is I'm going to put the Mary a little closer to the 25, and I'm going to bring my Christmas in kind of like, let's see, right about there. And then what I want to do is I'm just going to highlight the 25 and the Merry Christmas and hit Command 8 so that those cut together. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 8 inches wide, and our box is going to be, that box will be about 10, so that's pretty good. Alright, so now we're going to get to cutting. Alright, thanks for watching. We'll be right back. Okay, this video is going to be, this piece of the video is going to be on how to put these boxes together that we made with our Adobe Illustrator. So you're going to have 2 different size boxes like we made. So the first one, I'm just going to start folding on the score lines here. Just going to fold these sides down. And then we're going to fold the sides like this, you know, so it's folding in. Okay, and then we're just going to put some glue on the tabs and get this box put together. Just going to glue that. I'm just going to close it up, get it lined up nicely. And I'm just going to put it down on my desk here and give it a good press while it's laying flat. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing here, put some glue on the edge. Line it up on my desk here. Give it a good rub. Here you can see just lining it up on the inside here. Okay. And the next one. And you can see we're basically just making, it's going to be like an open, one side open box. Okay, and I'm just going to get some glue on the last tab here. Get that lined up on there. Now you can't see me squeezing this in here, but I am. I'm just going to give this all one more little rub. Okay, so basically we have a box, and what's going to happen is we're going to stack these boxes into the shape of a tree. And then we're going to do the same with this piece. So you're going to have the second piece, which is a little smaller. So we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to fold it on all the score lines. I'm going to glue it the exact same way. Okay, so now this box, what we're going to do is we're going to decorate the face of one of the sides, and then this is going to slip right inside of our other box, and then we'll have the decoration on the front. So we made two pieces, two cuts, one a bigger square and a smaller square. So I'm just gonna glue this on here, and I think actually before I glue it, let's see. Yep, I have my ink. You know I always have to ink everything. So I'm just gonna ink the edges here. I'm just going to glue this down. And then we also did our vinyl set of numbers. I'm just going to peel this off just because it's easy. It's just a 1. So I'm just going to get that put on there like that. I'm just going to throw some glue on the back here. And put it on the face of my box. You want to make sure that the closed side is at the bottom. Get that glued on there. That way, if you wanted to, you could put a little ribbon with a tab to pull the drawer out. And then this is, like I said, going to sit in here. And that's going to be our first box. And we're going to make 25 of these. And then we're going to put it so that it makes the shape of a tree. All right, we'll be back. Thanks for watching. Okay, so I just wanted to go over how we got from box 1 to the rest of the boxes. And what I ended up doing was I made all 25 boxes, and I made the larger box for the bottom. And then what I did was, as I was gluing the layers together, I used chipboard, and I cut the chipboard at 3 inches wide and then just a little bit shorter than each row. And I used double stick red tape to glue the different layers together so that the tree would stand up, and it made it pretty secure so that you can fill all of the boxes with a nice treat.